Thanks for meeting with me today.
No problem.
I'm Tyrone from USG Boral. We're here at the Build Design Centre because we've got this really exciting new family home that we're building. It's just south of Brisbane. It's a family home, 5-bedroom. 4 of the bedrooms will be upstairs and there'll be 1 bedroom downstairs. I guess what I'm here to do today is just to talk to you about some options that we could put forward for the client about plasterboard and its different options, and also some cornicing as well, because we want to sort of trick it up a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
right. Just in terms of, one of the things that this client has expressed to us is of interest to them to include is they would like their bedrooms to be quite acoustically considered, so that, you know, they can get a good night's sleep and whatnot. But also another, while we're on acoustics, is because it's a 2-level home, they're concerned about the sound transfer between the upper and the lower levels, and they want to keep it as sort of, you know, quiet as, of course. So what plasterboards would be the best option for them, do you think?
Look, for something like that, Joanna, I would probably recommend if you've got a bedroom downstairs above like a habitable area, like, you know, whether you've got a kitchen or,
living
you know, you've
space,
got a living space of some sort, and you need some acoustic isolation, we call it. Probably isolating the ceiling downstairs away from the floor joists takes away that kind of impact sound on the floor, the footfall kind of noise. And then we'd use a denser plasterboard.
For the walls or for the ceiling?
For the ceiling, for the ceiling. So probably something like sound stop.
Sound stop.
You know, even moving from a 10mm sound stop to a 13mm thick sound stop would give you a good enough impact sound level resistance that would certainly dissipate that footfall noise to that bedroom downstairs.
Right, perfect. Okay, so 13mm ceiling plasterboard. What about the wall plasterboard? Is there a special or a standard sort of?
Typically, most houses use about 10mm plasterboard as their standard default lining. Some people upgrade to 13mm on their walls. Just for that extra acoustic. Also gives you a bit of acoustic performance on the wall, but also gives you a bit more impact resistance because it's a slightly thicker board. And when you team it with insulation, with your insulation supplier, you're going to get a decent RW of your wall performance. So probably anything above 35 is pretty good, even into the 40s on a timber stud. And it just isolates those bedrooms away from hallways and things like that, right? So
a 13mm wall plasterboard with a sufficient insulation, would that be suitable for a media room as well, would you say? Or
probably for media rooms, because you've got a lot of low bass sound typically out of a media room. You're going to get a lot of reverb in that space. So we'd probably recommend using a 13mm sound stop again as your wall lining. And then on the other side of your media wall, I'd say probably at least another 13mm sound stop. And the bigger you can make that wall, I'm talking about the actual cavity. Stud cavity, the bigger you can make that, the better the isolation from one sound transfer in low bass to the other. Just
in terms of bathrooms and wet areas, what type of sort of water resistant or mold resistant plasterboards would be best? So
what a trend lately we've been seeing is that people are moving kind of more towards wet stop, we call it, the wet area plasterboard. It has like a wax emulsion in the core. And it has a waxy face paper. So once you've lined your bathroom, it's 10mm or 13mm either. Most standard projects like you're talking about would use 10mm. And you can tile over it. It gets wet sealed. So under the code now you have to have a waterproof membrane, a wet seal, and then you can bond your tiles directly to it. And holds up to about 24 kg a square metre in tile weight, in shear weight. And we've been doing, you know, thousands and thousands of metres of wet stop and have had no issues. So it's a good solution. Most of those wet stop products will give you the water resistance level and the mould resistance. When you're moving to fireboards, that's typically a separating wall. Where you might have a class 2 building where you've got to have, you know, a sole occupancy unit one side and another sole occupancy the other. So you've got a party wall effectively. That's where the fire rated boards come in.
Okay, cool. So just another bit of information that this client would like is they're quite they like environmentally friendly products and they like Australian made products. Does USG Boral plasterboard come with energy efficient or environmentally friendly ratings? and also is it an Australian-made product?
Yes to both of those questions.
Good. Too easy.
So USG Boral is a joint venture company between United States Gypsum in the US
Right.
and Boral Limited here in Australia.
Okay, yeah.
So we're our own separate identity of those two parent companies.
Good, yeah.
Headquartered in Singapore, but yes, all our locally
Australian made.
manufactured board in Queensland is made at Pinkenbar, just on the side of the river.
Yep.
And we have Good Environmental Choices Australia, or GECA as it's known.
Yep.
It's similar to a Green Star rating. There's a few providers of that, where we recycle some of our waste product, our plasterboard, back into new product.
Oh, good to know.
So we have a minimum of about 10%, up to about 20% of recycled content.
Oh, perfect.
So environmentally very sustainable.
Yeah, good.
We have our own water retention ponds too, that we pull water into our plant from rather than taking it from the mains.
Oh, great. So are those kind of things downloadable from your website, or it's great. So that would be easy to flick on to the customers so that they can get all of this information. That's great.
We list a lot of that information on the data sheet of the product you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it has like a safety data sheet, an MSDS and a technical data sheet.
Yeah.
And it'll show you the amount of content, recycled content, the GECA tick, all those
perfect.
options.
These are the cornice profiles here?
Yeah, sure. So we've got like quite a few options here on the board. This is not all of the range of cornice we have, but we do have quite a few popular items. We start with our standard cove, and that, like, project builders typically use their 90mm, 75 or 55.
Yep.
But then you move into a bit more decorative cornice.
Yeah, that's
and probably
interesting. Hey.
One of our most popular ones at the moment would be that linear at the top there, 75mm profile, and a 90 degree, almost 90 degree profile, which gives it a nice,
classy,
crisp, clean look on the ceiling line. And then some of the others also a little bit more deco style would be your 2-step or your 3-step. We sell a fair bit of that, the 50 and 75.
Yeah, okay, great. That linear profile looks like it would be perfect for this particular project that we're looking at, just because it's that sort of more contemporary, streamlined kind of look.
Yeah.
Almost like a square set, really, isn't it? But with just a little bit more detail.
That's right, that's right. A lot of people either do that, they either square set the ceiling to the wall, or they have a linear cornice such as that, and then their skirting is also quite plain and matches that kind of look.
Yeah. Yeah, well, thanks, Tyrone. Thanks for being here with us today. It's been really helpful. We're all set with our walls and ceiling and cornice and media room for our house, for our family down in South Brisbane. Also for our party wall information. That's going to be really helpful for our next townhome development. So thanks so much to you, USG Boral, the Build Design Centre, and for O'Shea and Son Builders. We're ready and raring to go for this project now.
Sure, thanks Joanna, anytime. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers.